Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you're listening to Live. Shoot! That stuff went awry. You're listening to Live from the Path. What's that?
Live from the Path.
Do we have an Instagram handle?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think it's at Live from the Path.
No one else took Live from the Path?
No.
No, I don't think that's that popular of a name.
Well, Live from the Path is. And so we get messed up with that guy.
No, I think we're good here.
I'm gonna check Instagram.
Yeah. So we were just talking before the show. Buva says that just to point this out so you guys go all and look, in case you only listen to the audio podcast, he wants me to change the start of the show because there's the picture of him. One looks like he's 12.
A
And
huge 12-year-old.
And he's got a chipped tooth. And so you should go check it out.
I don't anymore.
I'm not likely to get around to it, to change in the front of the show, to be honest. I barely post the show.
Would it be faster?
I don't look like a bridge troll any. Well, yeah, I do.
What if you just gave everybody a chipped tooth, Ben? Then we all would look the same.
We're all equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that.
I
Obviously-
appreciate y'all.
Hey, the people on Fiverr.com would do that stuff. I just send them a picture of Dan or whatever, and I say, look, give this guy a chipped tooth and send it back to me, and they'll be the $5.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back once you do that. And I'm gonna change my picture so I'm the only one who doesn't have a chipped tooth.
You don't have any technology editing skills at all. That's
I bet I
an
can figure it
empty
out.
threat.
I bet I can figure it out.
Completely empty.
I think I could figure that out.
We could give a chipped tooth to the thrift store priest.
Does he have
Did you almost say strip store priest?
Yeah, I did.
I hope that does
changed
not
careers.
exist.
He makes no money. He keeps on the long robe and reads from the Book of Mark all the time. Everybody leaves.
Bible in his hand, makes no statements, does not move.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Boo.
Get off the stage.
They give him money just to leave because he won't take off his cloak.
All right, well, you're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with
We
us
should
tonight.
post that on Insta.
Here's what we got going on the show.
Hashtag strip store priest.
Hey, so we're going to do Secular Solomon.
Yes.
I got a round of Secular
Yeah,
Solomon ready to
buddy.
go. We haven't done that in a while.
I got to move chairs.
Let's see. Mike, did you say you figured out you had some, you wanted to jump in on, Mike wasn't here for the conversation on the ex-evangelical pastor Dave Gass. Did you say you got stuff you wanted in on that?
Yeah, I was listening to it on the way in, and yeah, I thought that was a super interesting conversation, and I had a couple valid points that no one was in the van to hear with me, and so, yeah, I'd like to chime in a little.
What are they?
Okay,
Let's hear it, Mike.
Here's the main one that irritated me. Ben, how many times have you read through the Bible?
Like all the way through?
Yeah.
Intentionally twice, like 2 programs and then full and then a bunch of random reading.
Booba?
I have no idea.
Dan? No. I don't have any idea either. And the guy says, I've read through the Bible 42 times. And I think, what the heck are you reading it for? I don't keep track of that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I keep no valid track of how many times I've read anything because I was reading it to get what it had to give me, not what to mark down for. And I thought, you're reading the Bible for the wrong reasons. That was totally foolish. I feel like, I mean, you guys kind of nailed the conversation, so I don't have to rehash it. But, yeah, I think he missed. Just listen to him list off his stats of all the things he did. I'm like, I can't remember half the stuff I've did that God's been involved with, right? Like, he keeps a tally. He numbers the hair on the head. You know what I'm saying?
I actually thought that when we were talking about it, and my mind went back to a good old friend, Dennis Clark, who could tell you how many times he's gone through it only because he does it every year.
Oh, yeah.
And so he knows how many years he's been doing it. It's not because he's like, notch. You know,
Right. I'm
he's
rocking
just
the
like,
same.
oh, 12 years. Yeah, 12 times. So I was giving him the benefit of the doubt on that, but I don't know. That's probably pretty strong for him.
I mean, I maybe I should take a secretive poll of people that I know and see if they can say how many times they've done. I know people that mark occasions where God has really showed up, and they mark those down so they can celebrate them, you know, and keep an eye on them. But on the whole, I feel like it's like having both people in your house do the counting work, right? God's keeping tallies. God says good, bad. God says here's what we're doing. And like, my job is just to follow whatever he's doing. Rarely do I see the signs on the road or the traffic jam ahead because I'm looking at the back of a cloak because I'm following Jesus. And so I don't care what's up there. I care where Jesus goes. And so if my whole life seems to be laid out before me, and I've looked at the back of a scruffy-haired man for Jerusalem for 80 years of my life, I go, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. We're good.
All right, we're good. We'll settle that.
I mean, it was poignant to me when I was in the van. I thought I had some real zingers in there.
Were those all the zingers, Mike?
Well, I don't want to say the rest now. I feel like the room's turned against me. Yeah, Ben especially is leading the parade. Disappointed in Mike, I could tell by the look on his face.
No, man, I want to hear these zingers.
No, Ben's got a vacuum sucking all the air out the room.
No, I thought it was going to last longer.
No, it wasn't.
Oh man,
Why?
That's
did
all
have-
you got?
Do you have some?
I didn't prepare a ton. I was hoping you fill in some time.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting you to have quite a few zingers. That was
Well,
that
to
was
be
it.
honest, I was halfway through it, but then I had to pick up Buva, and then Buva wouldn't let me talk. He was talking about all his stuff on the way over, so I got nothing.
Hey, man. That conversation started by you asking me how my day was.
Yeah, that was a
You've
mistake.
known me for 15 years. You should have expected that.
Yeah,
Hey, I handled that. The Buva tried that on me. Not I think last week. Said, Ben, how's it going? I said, no, we'll get to that later. So I didn't have to get involved in it directly.
and then you said
He really did do that. That's not even a joke. And it completely worked. Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey, here's the deal. Like I know a few guys like that. Pants, who does the opening for the show, he does that kind of thing. Like I mean, I've gone to pick him up. I've probably picked that guy up 500 times in our lives. Like I've gone to somewhere to his house to pick him up, and he doesn't have but half a leg in the car, and he's like, "How's the family?" I'm like, "We're not prepared to start a conversation here," and I frankly don't think it's going to mean anything to you because I mean your butt is not settled.
Yeah.
And so I always defer any of that kind of thing for later on when there's nothing else to talk about. I don't like to kick off with it.
I mean,
What do you like to kick off with?
Ben's Guide to Life.
Yeah. What's going on with you? Yeah, that's what I say.
No, I don't do that.
Actually, here's the thing. It's like I think I like to get right to the point of wherever we're meeting. Because I don't just like pick up people or go hang out with them just to hang out and share their company. So if we ran into you, it's for a reason. And so I like to get right to the reason that we're.
Whatever, man. I'm going to start showing up at your place.
That's a huge mistake.
Nope. I'm going to start showing up, and I'm going to walk in your house and be like, hey, man, I know we weren't planning on meeting for anything. How was your day?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I got a bunch of other stuff planned.
Nope.
Yeah, too. That sounds like breaking and entering.
Yeah, it does.
Like
That's exactly what's happening.
if you don't have a stated purpose and you are in my place, I feel like you've broken and entered.
I know your wife. She will invite me in.
Here's the thing: is we have enough wild animals around the house that I keep a fairly accessible shotgun pretty close to the door.
I'm not worried about it.
And so if you walk into the house, Buva, and make your regular noise, I might mistake you for some kind of wild animal.
I know I know your wife. She's going to invite me in. Your kids will be Uncle Booba, and then I'll come in and we'll hang out. We'll ask each other questions that don't really mean anything, like, how's your day going?
Yeah, see?
Or, what's new with the family?
Yeah, I mean, here they are. I've been asked that twice this week, and I don't know how to respond.
Small
So-
talk with Mike Foost.
What's going on with the family? I don't know. They're the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm terrible with that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
Mike.
I mean, stuff.
their hair grew 3 inches, I think. I don't know.
Here's what I want you to do. I really want you to start doing that end of the year family newsletter thing. Like, I really want to receive that from you that just says, everyone is a year older.
Yeah.
And that's the entire thing.
Yeah, we did last year.
You sent that?
No.
Okay, good. Dan, this is the sad part. I would not be surprised
I'm
if
saying
you
that's the
sent out a
letter. Yeah, we
family
did it.
newsletter.
Yeah, we did.
that
We
says,
used to do that
this
every
is
year.
what's going on in Dan's life.
Honestly, it got kind of embarrassing.
Good.
I mean, because my kids, I don't want to over brag them, but they do a lot of good stuff. I'm
Think-
like, I'm sitting here bragging on them. It's just like, they just never got in trouble. They never
Yeah.
did bad. I mean, I was just like,
That's a valid point. As
Yeah.
someone who grew up with both your kids, it's very sad.
I mean, they made parenting really easy. They were, they made me look really good.
My
I mean, it
brother
was
and I
them.
did not do that with
You
my
were not
family.
them.
Yeah, but
No, I don't believe that my parents would ever say, "Oh man, Trey and Troy just made us both feel great all the time," and it was never difficult.
Yeah, but
I don't
no
want
one
to
includes that
overbrag.
crappy stuff in the Christmas letter. Like, boy, Troy was a real disappointment this year.
You know what? That is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out a newsletter of all the terrible things that happened.
Yeah. Buva Skid Mark Singledinger did the had the
Boof
following.
Skid Mark Singledinger.
That's a reflection of how your year actually was.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
my nickname just gets worse and worse and worse. That was
People
terrible.
knew you were there, just not for a good reason.
People saw me at the front door and went, "Oh no, is that some kind of wild animal?" No, that's Booba.
All right. So it was, what did I say? We're gonna do
Mike with some
segments
zingers. Thanks,
over? We
Mike.
have dear life in the path. Did you preview any of that stuff?
I looked at a couple of them.
But no one's calling the complaint line. I'm real disappointed. I felt like last week might kick out some legit complaints. I know one's listening. I feel like people aren't listening.
What discussion did you think was going to flag an irritant?
I thought that ex-evangelical guy would. I thought there might be a perception that we were too hard on the guy. I felt I at the time I felt a little amped up, and then I listened back to a little bit, and I thought, nope, nailed it.
I mean,
I
here's the
felt pretty good about it.
here's the thing: is like I mean, I can't say that I've not experienced shades of what he's saying, right? But like, I feel like I turn it back around and go, God, I don't know where I've gone off track here, but I know you're solid, so help me turn this thing around, right? Like, it's a fundamental. The thing is, the fundamental principle is that to follow Christ at all is you have to believe that God is good. You have to believe that.
Right.
And if you don't believe that, then you're screwed. You're following a non thing. And so, like, even when God does not heal who you thought he was going to heal, or who you wanted him, well, you not even thought who you wanted him to heal, or God does not intervene where you wanted him to intervene, that if you believe that God is good, you go, okay, you're good, and you chose to stay out of this or not do what I asked, and I'm going to let that go. I'm going to say, then that was in your sovereign province, and you decided that this was the thing, and I believe you're good, and so whatever decision you made was good. And so help me see the peace in it, and help me move on and follow you to other good things. And one of the things he said, what did he say? I'd never seen, in his 40 years of ministry, he'd never seen a spiritual healing, or never seen anything of supernatural. And like, boy, that means not only do you not believe that God is good, as I don't think you know anybody that does, right? Because I can say that I've seen that personally in my life, not a ton, handful, maybe on one hand, maybe. But I know enough people who believe that God is good that, like, if I add all those people together, I got so much evidence I'd be a fool not to follow this thing, right? And so, like, I feel like if you've never seen it, then I don't think you ever believed that God was good anyway. And you don't know anyone that also believes that can believe that, because you've heard so many tales. It's not like every story in the Bible is, you know, the daughter being raised back up from the centurion's daughter, right? Like, that didn't happen to everyone in Bethlehem. It didn't happen to it happened to that guy, right? The one recorded time that they have it in that era and in that 6 month to year period, you know, that's the story they told. And there's not the rest of the town going around going, well, obviously he doesn't exist because it happened to those people, it didn't happen to me. You know, like, that story enough is to go, what a great God. He chose to intervene in this thing. That's fantastic. And I don't know. I don't get that. Like we read these pointed stories in the Bible and go, this should happen to me. This should be the thing that happens to me. And if you look at it even in its own context, it happened to one guy in a group of like 50,000. It happened to one dude.
Right. It's like shaking hands with Lazarus and going, that's great, but my uncle still did, so God's not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like if it doesn't, I mean, I suppose that tells you how self-centered and self-focused we are, is to say, and actually that's not disassociated with how we believe, right? Like, with people's belief that they have their own reality, this is my truth, this is my reality, of which may be different than yours, to the fact that you can't personally affirm it, then it seems appropriate for you to reject it, as opposed to the fact that says, no, seriously, you just shook hands with that man. He stinketh, he was dead. And you're like, well, yes, but it did not happen to me personally, and so it's possible that God is not working. So, like, just foolish.
I mean, the same is true is like, and I'm certainly guilty of this, right? But like, you will catch something on the news where they'll say, hey, 20,000 people were killed by rebel guerrillas and whatever, and like, that number 20,000 doesn't even get past my skin. Right. It doesn't bother me one bit. I go, 20,000, that seems like a lot.
That's a big number.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen to me, and so I go, 20,000. I mean, boy, I sound like a real jerk here, but it's true. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
my
you hear
kids
the
are
news.
sleeping in bed.
I mean, there's people. There's stories every day.
Yeah.
Like, even now, so far removed from the Holocaust, the numbers are not staggering to my generation, and especially the generations after me. They're like, these many Jews were murdered senselessly, and you're like, man, it's awful. But it don't last more than 10 seconds, and that's sad. And so we do. It's not like we're dismissing, you know, one miracle here because it didn't happen to us. And we're not doing it to other things. We're certainly doing it to all things, you know. And so it seems misplaced to not be able to look back on yourself with some honesty and go, hey, man, the real deal is I'm disappointed that it did not happen to me or in front of me or for this person.
And I'm guessing he probably saw it, but he didn't give credit where credit was due.
Right.
You know, things happen. He just thought, oh, that was boy, I'm sure glad for doctors.
Well, true.
You know,
true, and what the whole story of the Bible is God using His people to get things done, and so it's very easy to attribute great things to people, you know, and miss that God would have had a hand in it somewhere, and I'm sure that's at that point he'd go, this is where you're stretching, you know, where you're throwing things in and acting like this. But the truth of the matter is, I can't think of 2 occasions where God did something without someone else involved, where he just flat out did something. Usually, it's him using his people to accomplish something. And so some of the healings that we see are through modern medicine, through a doctor who thought, maybe it's this thing, and like completely out of nowhere, or happened to pick out the one obscure text that no one's, borrowed in the library for 50 years, finds this weird disease and goes, man, this hits all the symptoms of this guy. I think we could get him some sodium and he's going to turn right around, And so like, you can easily dismiss the creator for the creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could do that if you don't have an underlying thought process that God is good and would be faithful to do things like this anyway. So you're right. It was sad to listen to, frankly. Although it rung some bells, right? Like I can't say that I haven't been in a couple of those places before. But instead of going, God owes this to me, I go, I've stopped looking at the back of the scruffy, Bethlehemian. Like I've done. This is what I've done. I've taken my eyes off the thing and I'm missing it, and it's palpable. It's palpable when you're looking left and Jesus turned right. It's noticeable.
Say there was there's a couple articles, an interesting one about Christian service is not automatic for Christians. Is that a surprise to anybody?
I don't know what Christian service means.
Okay, so here's the story. Many Christians admit to having difficulty in serving others, despite being called to do so in the Bible, according to a new report by Lifeway Research. For their 2019 Discipleship Pathway Assessment Study, the Nashville, Tennessee-based Lifeway found that less than half of Protestant churchgoers surveyed said they intentionally give up certain purchases so they can use that money to help others. Which is like, that's not the same thing as that I don't serve. It's specifically picking out something Lent style and saying I'm going to give this thing up to be able to do X, Y, Z, which I think is. I don't know if you ask the question that way. It's possible that your research is skewed, right? Because like, let's say if someone's tithing, right, they don't necessarily think of it as, hey, I gave up that amount of money's worth of coffee. They're just like, I gave it, as opposed to someone who goes, I'm specifically going to give up coffee this week because I want to give it to the food bank.
Well, maybe I don't know what the broad thought is on what's the biblical basis for serving others.
What do you mean?
Like if we say, hey, we found it in the Bible, what are they talking about?
I mean, precedents from what Jesus did, like actually serving others.
Yeah, right. So like take Jesus washing the disciples' feet.
Sure.
Who came to serve.
Right. So
Love your neighbor as yourself.
So I think maybe the broad brush of how they're judging service, it's hard to define, right?
Did I give up money to give to something else?
Did you work in the nursery for an hour?
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Did you work in the nursery? Did you go feed the homeless? Did you donate your clothes to a mission instead of taking them to the Goodwill or whatever? Like all these, even the Goodwill will count. But like, how do you quantify the guy that was working with another man and the other guy broke something, and he served the guy by not throwing the blame on him and walking away? You know what I'm saying? Like he said, look, we had a run in, the things didn't go very well, but we'll get it fixed, boss. Right? Like that's the type of sacrificial serving that Jesus did.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe to bring it home, if Jesus were to take this same survey, he would also be a no.
That's what I'm.
And if Jesus takes your survey and he comes and he's a no, then perhaps you're not asking the right question.
Jesus, did you work at the soup kitchen? I didn't make it to the soup kitchen. I didn't.
Did you give up eating or drinking this thing on your normal routine so that you could give money to this cause? No, I did not.
No.
Then,
I didn't do those things.
Right. It's it's just so narrowly defined.
Whoever, raised the dead and healed the blind.
Right. Does that count on your survey? No, it does not. That's
and
not
they say, Jesus, that don't staff our nursery. So, turn it around.
I see a dirty floor. Nobody vacuumed.
So it says they found that less than half of Protestant churchgoers surveyed said they intentionally gave up certain purchases. According to Lifeway, 41% of respondents reported agreeing to give up certain purchases so they could use the money for other people. 32% were neutral, and 27% disagreed. I don't understand.
Is serving others only giving up purchases to give to other people?
That is
quite a jump, yeah.
That is such a.
That's a very specific thing to request.
Again, not to steal an internet word because it makes me angry, but like that is such a privileged question, right? That is such a privileged way of looking at service.
It's the last thing I think of is money when. Service. Yeah.
like there's so many other ways, like myriads and myriads of ways that you can serve people, and it doesn't require specifically, like it assumes that like you are spending your money on something that is intentionally or potentially frivolous, and that you then are then subsequently targeting to get rid of it to put something good, which I get is kind of like a check behavior we do like we encourage people to do is like, hey, maybe give up that coffee and you can help save a child's life, right? Like you want to sponsor a kid. I get we say things like that, but like to call that the definition of what service is super blind.
Yeah, that sniff's kind of pharisaical, to be honest. Like, specifically, this is how much I'm giving up of my money, and make sure that you are checking yes on the question of I gave up personal, like, certain things in the service of the Lord. It's like, well, did you really give anything, though, besides, like, a little bit of money to not get your like, swimsuit you wanted this year? Like, really?
I mean, here's the thing. I think it's okay. Right, you want to do like you intentionally do that, like that's good. But like for that to be the standard of which, look, if you're not doing this, then maybe you're not hitting the note of servanthood. Like that's lame.
Or if you're giving from your abundance, you're not giving anything up. You're just adding. But that reminded me, this is what my Pope style was going to be, but I don't have it form enough to call Pope style.
Okay, fair enough.
But this was the story.
I told you it'd come back.
It came back today. On the way home, I stopped by the grocery store to get some food, grill some food. And the gal in front of me, little old lady, she had to be in her 80s. I was trying to pay for something. And, you don't pay attention because, you're not, like, trying to be a creeper.
Yeah.
But she was having some struggle. And then I realized, like, wait, I don't think her card's working.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm going to just buy her groceries. She had, like, $27 with her. I mean,
yeah, right.
Like, I thought, I'll just buy her groceries. But then I'm like, I got to make sure. So she tried it again, and it was declined. I'm like, oh, so I get my card out. By the time I processed, like, without being, like, weird, like, that I can do this. She needs help.
Yeah.
She got another card out and paid for it. And I thought, crap. And I was really actually kind of sad that card went through because, like, I really wanted to help her.
Well, I could have done
but
it.
I didn't move fast enough.
Right.
Because I was, like, processing too much. I thought too much about it. Well, that wouldn't have been service, though. It would have been just, like, I just want to help her.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't thinking, well, I'll put my groceries away. But I'm still going to get my groceries.
Oh, right. Right.
But I'll get hers, too.
Right. Paying for the person behind you in the drive-thru.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I mean,
it was kind of a fail, but yet it's like, my Pope style was going to be like, well, do it. I mean,
yeah, right. Just do the thing.
Stop thinking about it.
Actually, Dan, that has come up. We were talking about that in our as part of our church community. Is that like oftentimes when something comes up, and something happens in a family or whatever, you go, hey, let us know if you need help. And you know what? They're not going to do it. They don't ever let you know that they need help. Like every once in a blue moon, just do the help.
Do it.
Buy the gift card, send the groceries, buy the gas.
I've not done so many things in my life because I thought about it.
Yeah. Fire it up. Send the money over. What's the worst that could
That's
happen?
incredibly true. Ah, man.
Yeah, and it's always like, hey, definitely. And here's how this came up. There was someone at church whose parents had an incident where their house burned down. And we said
that's more than an incident.
I don't.
That's
right.
a pretty big deal, man.
Okay,
A bump in the road.
Oh, the house burned.
We had a snafu.
Fly in the ointment. The house burns down. And so we said, and so of course, like we're praying and we're talking with them and stuff, and we say, hey, look, definitely, let us know if there's anything we can do to help. They go, yeah, definitely, I will. I'll let you know. And nothing. Didn't ever say anything. 2 weeks later, they came back to church and they were just kind of sharing an update, and they told a story, and they said, look, boy, there was an old church that the parents had been at, and full little old ladies, and like small church, 30, 40 people, and they sent cards and like little bits of money, like we're talking $5, $10 or whatever. That means nothing in the grand scheme of our house burnt down.
Right.
But she was talking about that her parents were just so elated to get all these warm wishes and greetings from these 25, 30 old ladies sending little bits of money. And I thought to myself, hey man, you didn't say they could use any help. Like we said we would be able to help, and
you said they needed $5. We had it.
No one's. I mean, we could have done this thing. And I thought, you know who nailed this thing? Old ladies who go, hey, do you want us to send cards? They're like, hey, we're gonna mail a card and we're gonna put $5 in it, and we don't care if it doesn't help or if it feels awkward or whatever. Put $5 in there and we're sending it because we want to.
Yep.
And I thought, shoot, we've missed the boat on this thing, waiting for people who need help to say they need help. If you see someone needs help, just do the help.
Yep.
Yeah. That was something clicked in me that said I've offered to help 100 times and I've got like 2 people say, yeah, I could use some help. Fine. I asked because it seemed apparent. let's just do it.
That's true. It's like you're not so far removed from all humanity that you can't take a stab on what to do, right? Like if a family had you just know that they had a terrible Saturday night and it just went awful for them, and one of their kids was in the hospital or something, right? And everybody was up till 3 a.m. and they still drugged themselves into church the next day. You're buying them lunch, and you're gonna show up at their house with lunch and say, "Here's lunch. We got this covered." "Oh no, we could have got," but you didn't. "And here's the lunch, and we're gonna go. We're not staying here to eat it with you. You're just gonna hang out at your own house and calm down for a minute and take a breath and eat the lunch. And we're leaving. See ya." You know? And like there's no one in the world that goes, "Man, they've really inconvenienced me by bringing this lunch over, and I feel terrible." They're like, "This is great. I really could have used this breath. I appreciate the lunch," you know? And so like I think the people are always worried about offending or getting in the middle of of the way they run their house, you know, and you're like, "Man, I don't want to interrupt them," or you know, what if they already have plans with somebody, blah, 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 whatever. Like, you know, put a little bit of thought into it. People that got a ton of kids, their plans aren't very flexible. People that got 1 or 2 kids, they're a little bit more flexible. And so they got, you know, they got to, you know, they're more likely to move and shake. So when you bring them something they got a microwave. The people with 10 kids, you bring them fresh cooked crap because they ain't going nowhere. They're going to eat it to home. So, you know, put a couple thoughts into it and then just get it done. I agree. That's the way to live.
Yeah. So interesting, though, it broke down. They said they noted that younger churchgoers were more likely to strongly agree to intentionally give up purchases, with 22% of churchgoers age 18 to 34 saying they strongly agree versus 18% for those aged 35 to 49. So I find this interesting in light of their conversation. It's because by the time you're 18 to 34, or you're 35 to 39, you're 49, you're having our conversation. You're like, really? This is the definition? Because I'm doing other things. I'm not giving up something just so I can make the survey checkbox.
Yeah.
They said broken down racially, Hispanics were the most likely to strongly agree at 25%. I call this survey this is a huge nothing burger because I mean the strongest thing you have is 25%. And so I don't know how they don't look at this. Lifeway puts out tons of research. I think I would look at this and go, "Hey, we missed the mark here, boys. Just throw this one away. Let's start something else."
Yeah, there was nothing statistically interesting.
Yeah. Right.
Hey Ben.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to do this.
No, what?
But I got something on my heart, and I feel like I got a Pope style.
Okay.
And I usually let you like introduce that, but I'm not gonna let you because I need to say this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That cool beans?
I'm not asking Ben's permission.
I don't know how I feel about it.
All right, awesome. Hey man, so the last 2 days have been rough. Okay, really rough. But they started great yesterday, and I just now realized I totally failed in the last 16 hours. Like absolutely failed God. Here's why. I let the world completely rob me of my joy in the last like 20 hours. And I just now realized how bad it was. So here's the deal. So yesterday, I was at family's house, and we were getting ready to do church because I had just gotten off like a 12-hour shift, and I was really tired. And I started listening to some worship music with the family as we're getting ready for everything, right? And out of nowhere, I just felt like this overwhelming feeling to start crying. And that was awkward for me, like really weird. I didn't know what was going on, but I was listening to a song that was this weird, like anthemic, like circular worship song called Fill My Cup. And it drove me nuts the first couple times I heard it because it was just the same thing over and over again. Just like fill my cup, and stuff like that, right? And I just didn't get it. But then yesterday, as I'm sitting there amongst family and amongst people that are just loving on me and amongst the presence of God in that place, like it was overwhelming, completely overwhelming. And I started crying, and I had to go out on the deck to cry. And it wasn't like a sad moment. It was just like a wow, like I've been missing out on your joy and your peace, God, for so long. Like when I really feel in it, it is insane and is absolutely overwhelming, and I cannot handle it, right? And so I had that feeling. I had that moment twice. Like I cried for 10 minutes, and then I walked back inside and hung out for a bit, and then I had to walk back outside because I started crying again. And again, it was just this overwhelming feeling of like, man, this is it. Like this is what it's actually like, and this is what it really feels like. This is family. This is feeling like I'm in your spirit, right? And then not 5 hours later, after I woke back up from a nap, work started happening and got in the way. And I started getting really upset about some work stuff. And I completely lost sight of the joy and the peace that I had had 5 hours prior to this. And I got so beast angry that like I let go of all of this, okay? And it got even worse today because like I slept last night and I woke up this morning and it just continued. And I went to work and it was awful, and it stunk. And there was a lot of stuff going on. And I've just been fuming mad all day and angry at certain things. And it's literally hit me in the last 10 minutes of sitting here on the show that I wasted the last 20 hours being angry. Like I really did.
Yeah.
I
that's true.
I mean, it means nothing. Like the work stuff that I've had meant absolutely nothing. Everything got figured out. My anger didn't change anybody. My being upset did not change a thing. It literally just made me in a bad mood all day. And in the last 10 minutes, I just thought to myself, Dad, I'm sorry. I wasted a day with you because I sat there fuming in my anger from worldly stuff and didn't remind myself that my joy and my peace comes from you. And like the Holy Spirit is what keeps me focused on being happy. And my truck tire blew like an hour ago. And instead of getting angry about it, I'm just sitting here thinking, Dad, you got it. Like, I'm not really worried about it. It didn't take very long to figure out what happened. I'm okay. I'm alive. I'll figure out the tire. But like, I'm just mad at myself right now for wasting that day. And I've been sitting here listening to you guys, and I just really wanted to share that. Like, if you're honestly trying to walk with Jesus and spend your time doing this stuff, like, he promises you peace. And he promises you joy, and he offers this stuff. And like, this is natural fruit and outpouring from a real and freeing and loving relationship with him. And because I let the world run me for less than a day, I missed out on a great day walking with my Lord. And I'm sad about that. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, tomorrow's a new day. Very excited about that. And I want to make sure that I choose the right actions and I choose the right mentality to understand that today is going to be so much better if I just decide to hang out in his hands and hang out in his rest and not be angry and not let things worry me and just spend time in his peace and in his joy. Yeah.
I like that Pope style advice.
Yeah. Here's the image that came when you were talking about being angry. The first image that came to me was a guy who just who is so mad that he wets his pants to show the world.
That did not happen.
Hold on a minute.
Let it play out, Booba.
All right, let's hear it.
A guy who wets his pants to show the world how angry he is. And of course, the only guy that is negatively impacted for that expression of anger is the man sitting in urine pants. And he's wrecked his own thing, but to no consequence to anyone else around him. And so it's kind of that kind of thing that like how you express whatever's going on around you. The only person that it ruined or that it had any impact at all on was you, and then you just had to sit in wet pants.
Yeah,
for all day.
It was terrible.
And it created no value. Like, and it felt like the thing that's like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna express myself. I'm gonna get this anger out. And then what? You sit in wet pants all day. Anyway, I don't know why that's what popped into me. But was you wetting your drawers?
I didn't like it at first, but I get where you're coming from, and I agree with it.
Actually, it makes perfect sense.
I agree with it entirely. I'm not even gonna try and set the record straight. I like that.
No, yeah, I think it's good. No, you know, Boo, but I think that's a strong. My kids and I were talking about this last night. Is trying to move from slap your hand behavior. God, don't help me to not be angry. To like, God, help create in me the desire for the deeper well. Boo and I were talking a bit about this early this week too. Is that like, it's that like as opposed to yes, I think there's the behavior stuff. Like God calls us to faithfulness, which is like a combination of love and obedience. Like it's actually that's where those two things live together. They're married in faithfulness. This says, I love God, and so I will obey God. I will obey His commands because back to what Mike was saying, because I trust that they are good, and He wants what is good for me. And so, but oftentimes, I think from a rudimentary state, we say, Lord, I don't want to do the things you told me not to do. Please help me to not do those things. But then that's focuses primarily on my own effort and ability to stop doing those things. But the core thing that really drives behavior is the desire to want something better. Help convince me that this thing actually isn't good. Right? Because I always reach for the things that are my choice as opposed to God's choice, because in that moment I believe it's best. I believe that like this momentary thing, this momentary anger, this like whatever it is that I have going on, the sin I'm going to choose, like in this moment, this is the right. And like I've had it kind of floating through my mind over the last 5 days, and any sense of kind of temptation or anything shows up in my life, it's just a phrase like, no, I want the good. I want the good thing.
Yeah.
Help it. I want the deeper well. Whatever this is offering me isn't actually the best thing. Otherwise, you would offer it. Like if you would offer me this thing if it was really the best. And so I think of that when in relation to the stuff that you're talking about, because it ultimately causes us to say, if God is offering it, if it's God's direction, then it has to be the best option. That's why he gives it to us that way. And so at the moment, I might be able to find relief in otherwise expressing anger, or like whatever your sin of choice is. I might be able to find relief in doing whatever short-term measure that is. But what I need God to change in my heart is to desire more than anything what he has expressly laid out as good, which is, hey, this worry beyond my control is not valuable. Yeah. This anger is not righteous, and it is destructive to me. I want the good. Help point me to the good here. And not for me to stop, to just curtail it, not to just go, all right, I'm going to take 10 deep breaths and not get angry, but to say, God, what is actually the good here? Point me to the actual right behavior and help me to want it. So that when I'm faced with this choice, I go, boy, I could take this option, but I'm not going to because it's crappy.
Right.
I want this best thing that you're offering here. And that's faithfulness. That's an obedience and love for God to do the things that he asked us to do because they are inherently good. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that within the last couple of weeks, the thought process that I've had and kind of putting things through discernment is the things that I'm putting in and the things that I'm filling myself with. Like, are they real? Like, are they real in the light of like God's existence, right? Like, are these things that I'm creating and they're fake? Are they things that I'm developing and they're fake? Or are they things that are coming from him and they're real? Because I can fill up the holes in my life fairly easily, but that doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. And that doesn't mean that it fixes anything. And when I choose to fill myself up, fill my cup up with things that I have, it always fails. Every single time. I cannot tell you a single time in my entire existence that Buva has filled his own cup and I've gone, yeah, that was right.
This tastes terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, this was good. And every single time that I've allowed God to fill my cup with the new wine, right? Like that stuff, that is real. And that is good in his eyes and in the world. And like, that's when things start happening. And I'm chained by my own stuff. And his stuff is real and free. And I love that. And I love those two words.
That reminds me. So that's the example I gave the kids was like, because I like that deeper well thing, right? Like it kind of ties to living water, and it says that like God's got this real. There is a good here, a good way of living, a good way of faithfulness, and it may take a little longer to drop the bucket, but like it's the right thing.
Right.
But I said like it's the difference between doing that and drinking from a puddle. And so the puddle is shallow. There's only so much water in there. It's probably dirty. Someone else has probably stepped in it. But at the moment, I dip my hand in there. I'm like, this will bring me some relief. And it very well might for about a half a second. And then I realize it was poisoned. Or that, hey, it may have worked, but it's dirty and it will eventually run out. And it's not the same thing as what God was offering. And so, like, their example was that basically they're arguing with each other. And, like, it may feel real good right then to be able to lash out at your sister and tell them that they suck. And like whatever's going on around them, and you may feel some sense of relief for having yelled at them, but like what always follows, there's guilt associated with it because you're like, boy, I feel like I might have overreacted there, and I didn't bring positive interactions with my sister. It was negative stuff. The deeper well of being able to like talk through your stuff and show grace and humility and kindness to people through those things. Like I don't ever have those types of conversations and then walk away going, oh man, that feels rough.
I've over-humiliated it.
That's right.
Too much grace in that one.
Humiliated myself.
Yeah.
And so like that's the difference between drinking from that shallow puddle, and actually choosing the good, choosing that deeper well, the right path of obedience to what God is calling us to. And it's not that the shallow one doesn't seem right for just a second. But like long term, that's the lie. I guess the reason I thought of that, Buva, based upon what you were talking about, was that's the fake. The fake is that I thought when I reached into the puddle and I got that first taste of the water that was in there that I thought, this will satisfy. And it was a lie. It wasn't really true. It never was going to satisfy, except for I convinced myself in the moment I stuck my hand in that like, yeah, but I'm going to choose this thing because it's faster than going to the well. It takes way less effort, and I think it'll work. And that's the thing. If you say how many times I filled my own cup, for me it's the phrase, "Hey, I think this will work. I think this will satisfy the thing.
We can get by with this."
Yeah, I don't have to do. Yeah, I know God said to handle it this way, but like He doesn't quite understand the nuance of my situation, and I'll handle it this way, and I think it'll be fine. Bad phrases forbid. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll work out.
Yeah,
it's not true. Like the thing that God called us to the right thing because it's the right thing.
Right on. I
I'm
dig
good.
it.
All right, I accept that as Pope style advice.
Okay.
I didn't know it was up for veto. Have you ever vetoed Pope's advice?
No, because I get to introduce it properly.
Oh.
I know. I took away his fun. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
I mean, all you had to say was, "Hey Ben, I might have seen a Pope hat in the mirror this week," and I would say, "Good night, man. I heard the same thing." And then I could. I mean, I'm ready.
Ben, I want you to take a step back and think, was that the important part to do, or
Yeah.
was it important to just kind of say what I felt was on
Are
my
you
heart?
saying that the introduction to Pope style is the puddle?
Yes. In this instance, absolutely.
I veto what Buva said.
Yeah,
I think it's very important, Ben.
yeah. He's tried to Pharisee me, and I won't.
He's
take
turned on us.
I'm going to filibuster your vetoing, okay?
Buva's turned on us.
I'd like to recite all of Star Wars A New
He's
Hope.
drinking the chains. Oh, you fill your cup with chains, Buva.
And now, for America's fastest growing game show,
Oh, buddy.
Secular or Solomon?
it. Mike, you got to move.
Hey, come on over, Mike. Yeah, you can sit in between Dan and I. Come on over. We'll share a camera.
Is there a microphone over there?
We can double up on the mic too.
You're gonna Sonny and share that microphone? All right, hey, you have stumbled on America's fastest growing internet game show, Secular versus Solomon. Oh, here.
I'm just
Dan,
making sure Buva's mic works like I
let's
think
move
it
the
does.
thrift store priest over to Mike's area.
That's my impersonation of Buva.
I was gonna say, is that you doing a me? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Creole Chef. Catfish.
All right, here's the premise of the game. If you're unfamiliar, I'm going to give you a proverb, a bit of wisdom, and you need to tell me whether that is a secular bit of wisdom, it's of the world, or whether we're taking that from Scripture. And when I say proverb, we're going to go broadly. It could be it could be Proverbs from the book of Proverbs, could be from Ecclesiastes, could be from Solomon. There's a chance that it's from that other guy, a few other fellas that are in the Proverbs book. But so anyway, and if it's not biblical, then we need to figure out where this derelict wisdom is coming from, and I need you to tell me a country of origin.
Dan, it has to be an actual country.
Mine are always
Yeah,
very national.
Good luck, Buva.
Secular Epcot Center.
Hey,
Many
Buva,
nations.
Buva, you need to turn that camera just a bit. And Mike, I'm not gonna be able to hear you sitting back there like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back the microphone.
All
over
right.
here.
Oh, great. So we can wait a half a second as you guys deal with this thing. All right. All right. Well, this is gonna work out. Here we go. All right. Secular versus Solomon. All right, stop staring at the camera like that. Secular versus Solomon. Let's start with Buva. A night without roosters will still end. A night without roosters will still end. Secular or Solomon? Buva.
I'm gonna go secular Bolivia.
Secular Bolivia, Mike.
Secular Switzerland.
Secular Switzerland, Dan.
I don't know why that's funny.
The Swiss.
They don't have
Dan
roosters
finds
in Switzerland.
the entirety of the Swiss culture hysterical. Swiss Miss, Swiss cheese, everything.
Exactly. Oh boy, well it's going to be secular, not Switzerland.
Hey, man, come up with your own country. Don't just knock mics.
It probably is Switzerland. What is it? A night without roosters? It still ends.
Will still end.
I'm just
I
trying.
feel like you're over-invested in this, Dan.
I'm trying to get the wisdom from it,
Dan, we've been doing this for years. Just put down a country.
but this is important.
Yeah, man. Dan's not phoning it in. He's
It's like the setup to the Pope style. It's the chains in the cup.
Here's what I think. It's kind of a nothing thing. I'm going Canada.
See, what? The Canadians are nothing?
Pretty much.
So you think
They're
the Swiss
just
are
up
hysterical,
there
the Canadians are nothing.
hanging out, making a little noise.
Dan,
once in
that
a
took you
while.
2 minutes to say, oh, it's a nothing thing. Canada.
It took. I couldn't land it. I finally decided it's because it's Canadian.
Sweet Moses, man.
Canadian. It's a Canadian
It's like a
non
goose.
sequitur. It's Dan finds no wisdom in it. A night without roosters will still end. So even if there is the normal evidence for something completing, does not mean that it's actually the end of the thing. It will otherwise end on its own. Dan says that's Canadian. The Canadians are confused and obviously don't have any wisdom. That's why they behave the way they do.
Have you seen their coins?
That's true. Nailed it. The answer is secular Ghana.
Yes,
Ghana. Mike, you do not say Ghana.
I'm gonna get it right. Buva, I whipped myself.
He's an angry man.
I love it over here. Feel like a brand new man.
Oh no.
Secular or Solomon?
It's my turn.
Like, I can't take this.
I'm gonna sit over here all the time. This makes me happy.
This is why I don't get to host a legit game show. I don't have any chill. I can't handle the room. All right, here we go. Like clouds and wind without rain is the man who boasts of a gift he does not give.
Solomon.
Like clouds and wind without rain is the man who boasts of a gift he does not give.
I'm gonna go with Solomon.
Solomon, Dan.
Yeah, I agree. Solomon.
He's in with Solomon. Boova.
Solomon, Proverbs 19.
Proverbs 19. Boova, as always, unnecessarily sticks his neck out.
At least I didn't take 2.5 minutes to say, it's a nothing. Canada.
That's worthless.
All right. Like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. That is indeed Solomon. Proverbs 25. In a prideful boast, Boova's incorrect.
I'm not gonna believe it.
Wait, what's the wisdom there? Like clouds.
I love it here. What's the next? What's the next?
Hold on. So clouds and wind without rain. So things that otherwise exist without actually producing is the man who boasts of a gift he does not give. Okay.
A lot of air.
What's the? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Blowing it dry like a Canadian.
Wait, Ben, have you changed the premise of this game to where you're going to break down the proverb
I'm
as
just
well?
saying, maybe we could pick up if it's a bit of wisdom, biblical wisdom. Maybe we make sure we understand what's going on.
I mean,
This
isn't that
game
the
show
point
is
of
about to
wisdom?
take 17 times
It's
as
crying
long.
out in the street. Someone should answer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, don't worry. This is where Ben says, "Let me give you the 3-minute flyover version of this proverb," and then 20 minutes later, you've tied your shoes 3 times and wondered if your watch is still working.
I don't.
And Ben goes, "Now it's all about the Hesed."
Don't act like that.
You definitely act like that.
All right, secular Solomon. Bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Secular or Solomon? Dan.
I'm gonna go Solomon.
Dan's in for Solomon. Bova.
Proverbs 15.
Number 15. Sticking with it, Mike.
Hey, man, this is almost apropos for that conversation we had earlier about drinking from the puddle,
Yeah.
That's
This
right
is
on.
right on. Yep.
which is godly wisdom. So I'm going to go with Solomon.
Like
And
I said-
I'm going to say, I'm going to get out Boova's big red wiffle ball bat, take a swing. And I'm going to say Proverbs 19.
Let's see. Bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. That is indeed Solomon. Proverbs 20.
Man.
Mike was the closest without going over.
I don't even know how many times I've read my Bible. I just know these things.
All right, here we go. Secular or Solomon. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease it. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease it. Secular or Solomon. Boova.
Solomon, Proverbs 11.
Boova's in for Solomon. Mike.
So I'm going to guess Solomon, but I might need further explanation here because I've thought of 3 scenarios right here and now that you wouldn't want to appease, even if the king was angry about it. But I'm going to go with Solomon.
Mike's in for Solomon. Dan.
Yes, I concur. Solomon.
All right.
Somewhere between 15 and 20.
Ooh. All right. All right, we're bowling for a turkey here. King's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease it. That is indeed Solomon, Proverbs 16.
Yes!
In your face, Canada.
There it goes. That's in Proverbs, somewhere in the entire book.
Nailed it.
It's in the genes.
So here's the thing: is what if the king's like, I don't like women, and then he wants them all. He orders them all to die. Why would it say a wise man is best to appease it?
I mean, I think it's.
You don't want to get in trouble.
I think it's assuming that the
Yeah.
king is not a despot.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
He makes life easier on you.
Yeah, I
You-
mean,
you know,
it
go
does-
with the flow.
so like what he said, I don't like wallpaper. I mean, what kind of thing would he want to get rid of? I don't like the bells. No more bells on cows. I'm done.
It's basically it's wise to appease a man who has the ability to otherwise do you harm.
So like if someone comes up and says, "Give me your wallet or I'll kill you," it's best to just give
Hand
him
it
the wallet.
over.
Yeah.
Appease him.
Give me your ear or I'll kill you. Same.
Yeah.
And one of your kneecaps. Sure, scalp it out. I'll just hang tight.
Do what you got to do, friend.
That went dark.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm just saying. Can I extrapolate the whole Bible from
No.
this one proverb or not?
No,
Okay.
obviously not.
I haven't read that part of Proverbs very often. I apologize.
All right. Secular or Solomon, a good name is better than a nice scent. A good
Nice
name
scent?
is better than a nice scent. Secular or Solomon, Mike?
No, I just don't agree with that. I've met some real stank fellas, and I don't care what their name is, because I call them stank. I gotta say, that stinky beard man over there, he got the whiff of the nasty, and then I don't even ask what his name is anymore. He's Stinky Joe, and that's how I refer to him from here on out.
That's true. I don't think I would easily be appeased if someone were to say, "Hey, man, that guy really stinks." Yeah, but his name is, Joseph.
Yeah, right. Everyone goes, "Here comes Spittoon," because they don't care what his name is anymore. His name is Spittoon until he cleans himself up. That type of wisdom can only come from one place, and that's Italy.
All right, Mike's in for Italy. A good name is better than a nice scent. Dan.
That's an Egyptian proverb.
Dan says Egypt. Bova.
Secular Russia.
Secular Russia. Bova infers that there's stinky but well named. Hey, man, I read a book by a Russian not earlier this year, and the Russian names are difficult.
Yeah.
So I feel like if that was Russia, are they difficult to Russians?
No.
Do Russian kids grow up and they don't like?
I think they get it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hey, so that goes back to my point about changing Jesus' name from Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? We still call Vladimir in this country Vladimir. You know what I'm saying?
It's transliterated.
Yeah, we
is
don't
what
get
you're
him
saying.
over here and then call him Victor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it.
I think it happens in other countries, though.
I hate
think the United States is pretty open to say however you say your name in your culture is how we say it. But if you go to another culture, they will try to say it how they would read it.
Like
in English.
like England? Who changed it from Yeshua to Jesus? Who did it, Ben? Some man's name.
Tyndale, actually. That would have happened in Tyndale,
And he's from where? Where's he from?
England.
Yeah, I knew it.
Tyndale did great things.
Hey, man, wasn't the whole point of a lot of Ellis Island changing people's names? I'm pretty sure that happened daily. When people came to America, they got their names changed.
Yeah.
So it's not an American thing to just let people be called what they want to be called.
Well, that's because you had a lazy guy at the port. But that's I'm just saying, if you
Regardless if it was a lazy guy at the port or not, that exactly
he couldn't
happened.
spell. They're like, hey, my name is Rabinowitz, and your new name is Thomas because we can't spell.
Right.
Rabinowitz.
We took your ethnic name, and now your dad's name's John. Fine, you're Johnson.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that happened.
Yeah. So I understand. I'm just saying, let's go with. I'm not talking Ellis Island. We're talking modern times. Hey, I can see you in the camera. You can make it. A good name is better than a nice scent.
Russia.
Secular or Solomon? The answer is secular Kenya. I take pleasure in that you're all wrong.
Wow. Hey, Dan was pretty close with Egypt, though. Apparently, he doesn't agree with me.
No, I was going to say Zambia.
Dan celebrated a 5-chapter swath he threw out not 2 questions ago. With an emphatic, yes!
I was really caught on the stench of Egypt and mummies.
People stink in Egypt.
No, they don't really bury him. They just throw him in a stone pyramid. And
Thousands of years ago, I think they go through regular burial processes now.
No. There's always a connection.
Hold
to
up,
my
Dan.
answers.
You just said mummies. The whole thing of mummies
They
was to
stink.
make... No, they took everything out of
They're
those things, so
dead.
there was nothing to actually
body, there's
decompose
flesh.
and smell bad.
They put them in spices. See, they tried to.
Yeah,
cover it with a good
literally, they
name.
did everything they could so
I
that
know,
it wouldn't smell bad. Now
But unless
you're
they had a
calling out the
bad name,
culture.
Then they got the bad spices.
Yeah, Jesus was buried that way too, man.
He stunk.
Wasn't there perfumes?
They went
and
to
stuff
go
like
do
that?
it, and he's like, I waited long enough. You didn't come. I woke up.
I don't think that was the point of the rising after 3 days.
That's why
get that wrong.
I don't think Jesus said that. It's like, oh man, I waited for you guys to show up,
Stinks
but
in
now
here.
I'm terrible. All right, I suppose it's time. But
That's why he took off that napkin and folded it. He says, "This smells. I can't keep wearing this."
So I had a good name, but they changed it.
Somebody was dead in this thing.
It would have been like a lifetime movie if for the resurrection to happen, a woman had to go in and uncover Jesus' feet, very similar to Boaz. You know what I'm saying? Like, it turned out that he'll wake up on his own. You just got to get his feet all chillied up, and then he just go and pop out.
All right, secular or Solomon? Dung is no saint, but where it falls, it works miracles. Dung is no saint, but where it falls, it works miracles. Secular or Solomon? Dan.
That's in India.
Dan says he hears dung, he says India. Boova.
Secular Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Again, offensive to the Congo. Mike.
Doesn't it have to be a place that actually believes in saints? That has a religion that is based in
I
saints?
think that's the Congo.
What do you mean? What's the religion of the Congo?
I can't hear Boova.
Yeah, it's because I took his
There is a
microphone.
vibrant church there. We have a gal named Esperance.
I was
that
going
is
to say,
on
the
our record team
Congolese,
that,
I believe, have some Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Congolese.
Okay, but the Congo. Mike's in for.
Every time I go to the store, I buy Congolese rice.
That is not.
I don't think that worked on any level.
That should not be dignified.
Mike is laughing much too hard at this.
Dung. What's going on over there? What's
He
What's-
keeps repeating his joke, and it's making him laugh harder.
what's I mean? Was there CBD mist over in your side of the room, Boova? I don't understand. The Triple X Church
Hey
guy
man,
has
I got a
been
good name.
puffing
Don't worry
smoke
about
over
it.
there. All right, dung is no saint, but where it falls, it works miracles. It is indeed secular Spain.
Congolese
Spain.
rice.
What did I say? Do not dignify that.
I'm sorry. It hit me harder the second time.
All right, secular.
You
right.
said Spain? All right, fine, Spain.
Secular Solomon. The simple man believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. The simple man believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. Secular Solomon. Boova.
Solomon, Proverbs 5.
Proverbs 5. Mike.
Solomon.
Dan.
Solomon.
Dan's in with Solomon. All right. The simple man believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. Is these Solomon? Proverbs 14.
I meant to say Proverbs 5 through 20. So, yeah.
Mike. Mike, aren't you supposed to be keeping score? What's the score here?
I got 75. Dan's 24, and Boova's hovering at 2 points in the positive.
Oh,
He's
man.
not doing well.
I mean, that's not bad. Sometimes Boova ends up James Holzhauser in this thing.
There's still room yet in the game, Ben.
Okay. All right. Speaking of which, secular Solomon, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. Secular or Solomon? Mike.
That's definitely Solomon, and I'm going to say that's Proverbs 4.
Solomon, Proverbs 4. Dan.
Yeah, I'm Solomon as well.
Very good. Boova.
Proverbs 6.
Is that your opinion?
Yes.
Mm.
Hey, you caught me. No wisdom in that. Proverbs 6 through 12.
Boova takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. It is Solomon. Proverbs 18.
Man,
Proverbs 18.
I was close.
It is funny that the Hebrew for fool is Boova.
Interesting. Should
Secular.
have got a new name instead of this pretty scent.
Here's what I know for a fact. If that were true, it would have come up a long time ago. Secular or Solomon, if there is a lid that does not fit, there is a lid that does. If there is a lid that does not fit, there is a lid that does. Secular or Solomon, Boova.
Secular. Pyrex. Yeah, I did it. That's right. Ziploc. You don't have to dignify that.
Country of origin.
Oh, fine. America.
If there's a lid that does not fit, there is a lid that does. Mike.
I don't want to sit over here anymore.
It
Oh, the joy is gone.
It killed the room.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with secular and Tibet.
Secular Tibet. Dan.
Can't say you have your own solid guess, Mike.
It is secular, and it is China, because they make lots of products that they've got to connect the correct lids to.
Dan, both of us failed on this one.
The manufacturing in China is to the extent that lids are an actual problem. But because they make so many, they'll find one.
There'll be
does
one
work.
that
There
fits.
has to be one that fits.
Exactly.
You know what? Dan's going to be vindicated here. If there is a lid that does not fit, there is a lid that does. It is secular Japan.
Oh,
What?
Very close. Very close. It is a false Miyagi, but it was close.
A false Miyagi.
All right. Here we go. Rounding out the game. Here we go. If Secular Solomon, if you do not strike back at him who hits you, there is no way for him to find out whether you also have hands. If you do not strike back at him who hits you, please worry about the country that needs this as a proverb. There's no way for him to find out whether you also have hands. Secular or Solomon. Mike.
I love this situation. This sounds like a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they supposed to know you have hands, boy? Unless you smack them. There's only one country that's rough and tumble like that, and that is secular Greece.
Mike says that the Greeks. Hey, man, those guys wrestled in the nude. They might be up to something. Dan.
I don't know. You can't hide hands when you're wrestling in the nude. You know your opponent has hands.
I mean, you best be happy this proverb is potentially not from Greece, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going secular, and I'm going with what I was going to say earlier with Zambia, because, just because.
There's a question of hands in Zambia.
There are lots of questions of
Bova.
Secular Romania.
Any particular reason?
I have no idea.
I expect some more intelligent guesses here, boys.
If you wouldn't have asked me, it could have sounded intelligent.
That's true. You wouldn't have that right. You would. I've brought you out anti-Solomon style to express yourself as a fool when you otherwise could have kept silent.
Yep.
I did not permit it. If you do not strike back at him who hits you, there is no way for him to find out whether you also have hands. The answer is secular Russia.
because they do chop hands off there.
Yeah. I thought that's where you were going, Dan.
I mean, I just couldn't. I was kind of distracted by a message. Yeah, it got me.
And now,
That's fair.
for America's
Dan is in
fastest
a-
growing
Man, Romania is
show.
not that far away from Russia. I feel like I should get negative 2 points for that.
Dan doesn't do the points.
I was saying that to Mike.
Yeah, final tally is I think I won with 67. Dan was a close second at 4, and Buva was in the hole -13.
Well, that's rough, Bova.
Yeah, remember when he
time.
tried that Pyrex wink thing?
Yeah.
Boy, the judges did not like that at all.
I noticed that, Mike.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
They
That's
went-
what happens when I try and fill up my own cup.
I
They
couldn't.
were
with my own
weeping-
humor.
They were weeping with joy, and now they're weeping with
I got
anger.
chains in the cup on that situation. I failed.
I couldn't even put together a conciliatory laugh.
I noticed that too.
I was embarrassed.
Everybody got quiet.
I was
Every once in a
embarrassed
while,
by
I
it.
think, haha, this could be funny. And then I realize,
Boy,
nah,
isn't
man,
that
when you ever
isn't that
try and
the
be
name
funny,
of
it's
your
terrible.
autobiography, Buva? Haha, this could be funny.
No, man, the name of my autobiography is Table for One, please.
Oh yeah, you said that already.
Yeah.
I didn't find that clever the first time.
Hey, yeah, it is.
No,
I've
go-
tested that on test audiences, and they all thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, they're afraid of you. They're afraid you're gonna
Nobody's
hook them.
afraid of me.
You're gonna hook them if they don't agree to your autobiography.
Right, that's
name.
probably a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to ask larger people.
You know what I need? I need a larger test audience.
Literally.
Well, how many? No. I mean physically larger. I need to
People
find.
who are not physically intimidated by me going, hey, is this an awesome name for an autobiography?
I need to ask
And they respond with, please don't eat me.
WWE superstars, maybe cattle ranchers. I don't know. people who are intimidating.
Are you by chance a bounty hunter? Awesome. What do you think about this name?
I have some ideas to float by you.
Maybe a Russian who doesn't know whether you have hands or not. All right, Mike, you got some advice on Dear Life from the Path?
Let's see
I sure hope
here.
so. Let's give our opinions.
Dear Life from the Path. Oh no, my father has a problem with food. He has no portion control.
I got you.
Hey, I have a book title for you, sir. He rarely eats fruit or vegetables, never exercises, and is addicted to cigarettes. He admits he could do better, but makes no effort to improve his health.
Mhm.
To be honest, Dad is lazy and gluttonous.
Mhm.
I'm worried he will have cardiovascular health issues in the future.
That seems appropriate.
I wonder what degree
Stop
you
being
obtained to
worried.
even
Realize
figure
that
that
is
out.
exactly what will happen.
My siblings and mother share my concern. I'm a recent college graduate with a paying job, and I'm living at home temporarily to save money. I'm willing to exercise with him and can commit to encouraging him daily. How do I intervene without seeming disrespectful, considering I'm still under his roof? Well, that's a tough haul.
Here's the deal. I think you've made the step. Like, you can offer.
Yeah.
But he can't. I mean, you can't exercise on his behalf. You can't eat differently on his behalf. You can't stop smoking cigarettes because you don't smoke already. He has to want to do it. So, like, you can create the opportunity, but it is not your responsibility to, like, follow the man around and insist upon it.
Yeah, you see your job here is to be patient and loving in receiving once he's ready. But please don't get discouraged. It's going to be so easy to get discouraged when he does not respond to your advances for walking and for doing stuff and wanting to quit and everything like that. It's going to stink, and it really has to hit him, and he has to be the one to choose it. You cannot force it, and no matter what you do, it has to be on him.
Yeah,
Don't lose heart.
It's kind of like some of the we've talked about some kind of addiction issues and stuff previous, or even just behavioral things with people. Like they have to want to change it. Like you can't live their life on their own behalf. And so like you can be there to offer to help. You can meet them on the right path, but it is not. You don't have to join them on the wrong one to be gracious and to be helpful. You just have to always be willing to be waiting on the right path for them.
Okay. Secular says, how about putting it this way? Dad, I love you so much. I want to have you around for a long time, but I'm worried sick that you're so sedentary, your diet isn't healthy, and you smoke. If you don't start doing something about these things, they're going to bite you in the butt. Please let me help you to become more active. I'd love to exercise with you if you're willing. I know it would make you feel better if you do. How would that phrase sit, Booba?
That would make me mad.
Yep.
But he already knows it. He knows that.
Yeah, no,
He's not an idiot.
That's
right.
exactly it. Like this dude is not surprised at what's going on with his cigarette smoking. He's not surprised at the fact that he doesn't eat any fruit and vegetables. Like, unless you are severely mentally handicapped, like you recognize what healthy stuff is for the most part, and like you're just making bad decisions.
Yeah, you just go, nope.
Right, exactly. You
Nope.
are openly choosing not to do these kind of things. Realize that there may be something emotional behind this and mental behind this that isn't going to be fixed by just saying, "Hey, let's get up and walk." It's very easily could be coping mechanism with a very deep, deep hurt.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things, especially when it's this out of whack. You'd be astonished at how often society dismisses this kind of stuff. And makes it seem like, oh, they're just lazy, or oh, they don't want to help themselves and stuff like that. But there a lot of times there's a lot of trauma behind that, and your job is to be patient, loving, and understanding, and by no means enable them, but be a safe place for them with forgiveness when they're ready.
Secular finishes out, if your father is so addicted to nicotine that he can't quit on his own, suggest he talk to his doctor about a smoking cessation plan. If you say these things with love, it should not be regarded as disrespectful. Yeah, I don't know. Those smoking cessation plans are rough. They have these pills or whatever you can take. Man, they just make you nauseous as all get out. I would rather smoke than take them weird pills.
I don't imagine that it should be taken as disrespectful. It's just it's just probably, it could be unwelcome. But that's not the same thing as like not respecting somebody just because you don't want to hear it.
And you also have to recognize that their defensive nature may make it seem like it's disrespectful because they may even say that, but that doesn't mean inherently that it is. Someone that's dealing with an addiction is a lot of the times going to be defensive, especially if they're not ready to give that addiction up, because that's their safe place, and you're threatening that. And so if they respond with anger, that doesn't necessarily mean you came at it wrong. They may just be touchy on that.
You know, over the years, I have at times told my wife, say, hey, I'm not controlling my food intake. I want you to call me on the carpet when you... And I get angry every time she...
Oh, absolutely.
It's like all of a sudden, like, oh, no, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Fritos are good today.
Yeah, if you're in a spot...
How dare you?
If you're in a spot, especially of legitimate full-blown addiction, even asking for accountability in the moment may be a strong point for you, but when you're weak... accountability hurts. Accountability is angering. It's putting you in a corner, and somebody that gets cornered is going to swing, and that's exactly what happens.
I've got to talk to someone tomorrow. This message from earlier. Meth and came out of it, and because of it, and so forth, and it's been in a pretty good spot. Now suddenly dating a meth.
Oh no!
So how's that?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's gonna.
Yeah.
So put in your chemical meth
Right.
food.
Yep. It's all the same to your brain.
They've got to want it. They have. And you can want it for them all you want, and it doesn't.
You know,
hurt
actually,
your heart.
You're
peeing your own pants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pee in your own pants.
Pee in your own. It's where that deeper thought, the deeper well, and the deeper truth is that you believe God is good. That the deeper well actually even exists.
Yeah.
Right? Because as far as you know, the puddle is all there is. And you've only had puddle water. And you go, I don't know what you're saying, but this puddle refreshes me. And so we're doing the puddle. right? But like that's how the faith gets built in with a lot of the addiction curriculum, is because if you don't actually believe there is a deeper well to have, or you've never experienced that deeper well, then you don't have any reason to believe that the puddle ain't it. And so if the puddle's all there is, then you go, why is everyone trying to keep me from the puddle all the time?
I should just go back to drinking.
Right. This puddle was just fine. And to be honest, there's a big mountain to this, supposed well that you keep talking about, and I have never seen. And I'm taking your word for it, and you're going to make me climb up this big mountain, and you're not going to let me drink from the puddle while I'm running the mountain. And so all these things are stacked up against an addiction that goes, you tell me there's great stuff at the end, I don't see it. You tell me I can't have any of the puddle while I'm climbing this terribly hard mountain that I've never had to climb before. My body's not used to it. My mind's not used to it. My heart doesn't want to do it. And you have all these things to be like, just do this, just do this. And then the one time I sneak down from the mountain and drink of the little puddle, everybody gets mad at me again. You know what I'm saying? So like, it is a legit struggle. It is a hard deal, and it is really, there's a lot more weight to it than I think we like to give. Well, maybe I should at least say there's a lot more weight to it than I recognize some of the time. Other times I see it clearly and recognize it for what it is, and sometimes, I don't. And so, without adding a bunch of comedy into the thing, right, it really is a big hill. But there is a deeper well on the other end, and if you don't believe that God provides a deeper well, then it makes it that much harder to even want to go up the hill in the first place. You feel like you could walk in and go, you live there, right? You're college aged or whatever. You go, hey, Dad, we going for a walk today? No, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. I'll check again tomorrow. Hey, Dad, how you feel about that walk today? We ain't going for no walk. Go away. You think it would go if you just wore him down with funniness, with comedy?
I think that is certainly a much better approach than many people are want to do.
Yeah.
I think that, again, with patience, that's an important thing. You've got to realize that this may take 10 hours. It may take 10 weeks. It may take 10 years. When you're in that addiction fight for your life, time doesn't really move the same way. And persistence is important from your loved ones. Don't give up on them.
All right.
Okay, last one. Ready?
Yep.
Dear Life from the Path. I am a 57-year-old man who has been divorced for 8 years. Parenthesi, my ex-wife was the one who filed. Oh,
noted.
I recently reconnected with my ex-wife's sister, Edith, whom I haven't seen in years. We began a friendship, which has evolved into a serious relationship. My ex is having issues with our romance and has been trying to turn friends, our grown children, and our parents against us.
Mm-hmm.
We are both single and enjoy each other's company. Is there any reason why we should not pursue the relationship because, quotes, we're upsetting my ex-wife's family? Yeah, I think there is.
Supposed to be your girlfriend's family, too.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. I was like, unless you guys plan on running away together to Bora Bora, you got to realize that that's the same family you're in a serious relationship with. Man, that's rough.
It's unfortunate that you may have found a connection, but like that brings a whole bucket of complication. And even if you feel like this initial thing is a good idea, like that complication will never go away. And you may not have to interact with her family, your ex's family, right now, but like there's going to be holidays and there's going to be deaths and there's going to be stuff, and you won't get away with it. You won't get away from it, I guess is the thing. And so I would make that decision, and I mean there's nothing that keeps you from doing this, but I would keep that into context, whether that is enough to put extensive strain on your relationship and whether it's worth it.
It's funny because you get you find this a lot in like high school romances, right? Where like you have this group of say 6 friends, and they love you and have always done what's best for you, and then you want to start dating the spittoon, and all these 6 friends you feel have turned against you and don't have your best interest in heart, and they all hate this man, and you can't figure out why. And you've blinded yourself to the facts that the 6 people that have always cared about you have said, please don't date Spittoon. He stinks. He's a stinky man. I think this is a huge mistake. Why don't you guys love me anymore? How could you turn on me so fast? We didn't turn on you. We asked you for your betterment not to date Spittoon. And then from your perspective, you feel like you've lost everything. But what you've done is taken everybody that's ever loved you, told them that they see the world wrong as a cumulative group. When it's you. You're seeing the world wrong.
Yeah.
You're not looking at it right. and you dating your ex-wife's sister is, I mean, that sounds bad on paper, not even to mention practice. These are terrible. This is a terrible idea. She filed divorce from you, which means she felt that your behavior was so abhorrent that she could no longer continue living with you, and then you start dating someone else in the family. I mean, can't you see a roadblock sign from 3 miles away and not run into it? You know, you should have turned around 2 miles ago.
This could be his life partner, Mike.
No, it's not his life partner.
It could.
No, he ruined that when he dated her sister, married her sister,
She ruined it by.
and had kids by her sister.
Didn't say that.
Yes, it did. Older children.
The grown children.
Mm.
This is aunt/mom.
Literally, yes.
Same.
Yeah. You
Come
know
on.
what? That's too complicated. You got to get out of there.
That's
No.
my Aunt Mama. Terrible.
This isn't worth it.
No, it's not worth it. It's dumb. Dumb.
It's got to be other options.
Don't date Spittoon.
All right,
Your
what's secular
friends
got to
love
say
you.
about this one?
It's dumb, Boova.
Yeah, agreed. Don't act like you're
Wait,
telling me
wait,
this
is that-
advice like I'm doing it.
Boof, is that your advice too? What, run away?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Okay.
Boova thinks they should stick it out.
Dan,
No, I do not feel
are
that way
you
at
a
all.
runaway?
Read.
I think underneath all this, they're both angry at the wife and they're trying to get to her. That's what started the whole.
Interesting.
He was just annoying her, and now he thinks he's in love. Yeah, they need to. Run.
Oh, they agree that she stole my life and she pulled my hair. So
Yeah.
okay.
I think if they read 40 Days of Marriage Purpose, this might work. Is there a book called that?
No.
What?
No.
I'm
Did you just make up a self-help book?
I feel like I could sell it right now for millions. And
I'm 100% certain you could.
people consider 40 days to be holy. And if I say, your best marriage yet, 40 days, I could sell 1,000 right now.
Probably good.
Fired up
It's
my.
so sad that I feel like that's completely true.
Let's just let the space gather. Just let the air set.
This show has some real high moments, and it's had some real lows. Real lows.
I'm willing to accept that I was the lowest. I'd be okay with that.
I give it a couple minutes, Boova. Secular says, when your wife left you, she lost the right to dictate what you should do with your life, including whom you date or even marry next. She's acting like the proverbial dog in the manger, and I sincerely hope your friends and family don't let her get away with it.
Wait,
That's a thing.
the proverbial dog in the manger?
Ben,
What is
look-
that?
Ben, look up that proverb with the dog in the manger.
I'd really like to know about this proverbial dog in the manger.
What does that do? What
Like
is it-
Secular just totally made that up
does it act
to try and sound good.
Does it,
Secular lost.
does it get out of hand? What does it do?
Hold on.
Like the dog in the manger.
Okay, hold on. The dog in the manger. The story and metaphor of the dog in the manger derives from an old Greek fable, which has been transmitted in several different versions. Interpreted variously over the centuries, the metaphor is now used to speak of one who spitefully prevents others from having something for which one has no use.
So the ex-wife is being the dog in the manger to the sister and ex-husband?
Yeah. Yeah, so she doesn't have any use for it for the husband anymore, but she wants to make sure no one else gets it either.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
I can see that.
It's funny. At the an alternative version of the fable was alluded to in saying 102 of the Gospel of Thomas. This example involves oxen rather than the horse. It says, Jesus said, "Woe to the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in the manger of oxen, for neither does he eat nor does he let the oxen." Anyway, hey, you've been listening to Live and Path. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. We're gonna let you go. We will be off next week, but we'll be back in the week after. And so, if you got anything you want to get a hold of us of, give us a call on the complaint line, 515-517-0085. That's 515-517-0085. We will be back in the saddle in a week or two. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.